Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of Conversations with the Tufenkian Foundation. My name is Rupen Jambazian, and today I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming Joe Krikorian to our show. Joe is the founder and director of the California-based Code 3 Angels. He's a retired paramedic firefighter who established the educational nonprofit back in 2014. Welcome, Joe, and thanks for chatting with us today.
Thank you. Good morning or good evening on your side. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Joe, let's start off by kind of introducing our guests to Joe. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from, where you grew up, and how you decided to become a paramedic firefighter.
Of course. Well, I was born in Beirut, Lebanon. That's where I grew up. I moved to the US in 1985. I was 14 years old. And then I came straight to high school. That was interesting. Getting out of Lebanon, walking into Pasadena High School, saying, why are there 2,000, 3,000 people in here? You know, what's going on? You know, right? Because I came in like 3 weeks later, I'm in high school.
Wow.
And I was 11th grade, I think. And the Pasadena Fire Department came in, did a demonstration. I'm like, oh, that looks cool. Because we didn't have that in, a lot of stuff like that. And we do have firefighters and everything, but not to, US or Canada or, Europe standard type of a deal. I'm like, that looks really cool. I'm going to look into this. That looks like a cool job.
Awesome.
And when I got into it a little bit, I noticed, I'm like, okay, this is something I can do. And grown up in Lebanon in wartime, seeing all those injuries, all those craziness, I'm like, okay, this is something I could do, and then maybe I could give back this way to the community. And that's how that started. And it was a great experience, working as a paramedic firefighter in the state and assisting people in many different ways, like doing community work, going out there, teaching people how to just do basic CPR. That's what I did in the fire department, as a paramedic. So that's how kind of I started thinking, I'm like, okay, this is really cool, helping the community. That's, I loved it. I did it for a while, for a long time. And I loved every single minute of it. And I mentor a lot of people to go to get into the fire department, to become a paramedic. People go, it's so hard. I'm like, yeah, everything is hard. But
Right.
once you get there, it's beautiful, right?
Sure.
Like everything else in the world, nobody's going to give you anything, right?
Absolutely.
If you earn it, it's a little bit better.
Yeah. How is
Yeah.
it with your family? Did it take some convincing for your family? Because that sounds like a very dangerous job for an Armenian family, Armenian parents.
That's interesting because a lot of after I was in the fire department for a few years, a lot of I would go to camp, right? I would go to AYF camp and as an EMT, as a medic, and people go, oh, that's cool, I want to do it. And I would mentor people and they would come back, yeah, my dad said this is a dangerous job. They don't want me to do it.
Right.
My family, my mom was supportive 100%, whatever you want to do. And she always had my back. I got lucky in that aspect, and my, my wife, she was 100% supportive with everything that I would do either way. So it was okay. And the good news is the training and the equipment over the years got better and better and better. Yes, still dangerous, but it's not like when I started, it was, a little bit iffy still. But it was okay. I had good support. But a lot of Armenian families, they're going like, no, you're not going to do this. But
Right.
they end up doing it anyway, so it worked out.
Yeah. I
It's
apparently I used to
interesting.
tell my parents I wanted to be a police officer, but I guess their convincing worked because
Yeah, yeah. That's a little bit different with police
sure,
officers,
sure.
a little bit different. But yeah, there I get what you're saying. It's interesting.
Yeah. And so after being a paramedic firefighter for years, back in 2014, you're the founder of a educational nonprofit, Code 3 Angels. A lot of people in the Armenian community know about the Code 3 Angels very well because of the community work that you do. But tell us a little bit about how that started.
Yeah, that was for years I always wanted to go to Armenia and do some kind of work, but honestly, I didn't know how to start it. I don't know where to start with it, because there's so many things going on in different ways. And in 2014, I was invited by Dr. Shah Chakardamian and Dr. Alim Baldasarian to join their team to do pediatric emergency medicine. And my part in it was basic life support and pediatric advanced life support through American Heart Association. That's how I started. And that was 2014 was my first time going to Armenia. And obviously, I walk in there with different expectations, but I loved it, and that was it. And I joined them until 2016. We would go and do this. In 2016, we were in Gyumri. An incident happened in Gyumri. We were at Austrian Children's Hospital. We were doing pediatric emergency medicine class for the doctors, for the ambulance doctors. And we heard yelling and screaming. I went outside. They brought a kid in that went into cardiac arrest in school, and nobody knew what to do. And I'm like, okay. I started thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, we're training all these physicians, which is great. I still do it. But it seems like the community, the teachers, the coaches, the community members really don't know what to do. And if they do, it's really old, from like old school, which is a lot of things get updated, get better and better, right?
Sure.
I'm like, okay, I got to do something about this, because here in the US or Canada or in Europe, when you call emergency, we're there and within 8 to 10 minutes max, right? It could be sometimes longer or whatever, but we're there fast. In Yerevan, that could happen too. They could get there possibly in 8 to 10 minutes or 15 minutes. But outside, I mean, even if they get there, hospitals far, this and that, I'm like, okay, we got to do something, because there's simple ways that you can train people, the community, to save a person's life. It's just simple stuff. Because if they're choking, for example, you do abdominal thrust and you know how to do it, you can give this person a chance of survival. If they go into cardiac arrest, if you do basic CPR, just do hands-only CPR, we call it, right? You just do your compressions until you keep the body circulating, the brain, oxygen in the brain. Simple stuff. I'm like, okay, we got to do this. So we started. The first time we did actually, the first group was Tumo. We did Tumo Yerevan, Gyumri, all the Tumos. We went to Artsakh Tumo. We did that. We trained the school there, and then we went to Gyumri. We did trained a lot of people in Gyumri. We did training, and just that's how it started. And then most of my work, technically with Code 3 Angels, started in 2016. And the name Code 3 Angels, Code 3 means emergency, right? When they're responding lights and sirens, Code 3 Angels. Like my business is the father of Code 3 Angels, Code 3 Life Support Education, right? So Code 3 Angels, years ago, I came up with the name and I bought the name. And I told my family, I told my wife, I'm like, okay, we're going to do something with this name one day, but I don't know what it is yet, but we're going to do something. And this was back in 2003 when I started the business. Yeah. And 2016, it came to play. And since then, we do a lot of work in Artsakh, mostly in Artsakh, then the Yerevan or Armenia. In Armenia, every time I go, I do updates to the doctors or the ambulance doctors for advanced cardiac life support. But that's how the Angels started, and that's what we do. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
And it's my understanding that it's not just limited to Artsakh and Armenia, that you do some work in the US as well.
We do a lot of work in US. We do a lot of community work in US. For example, we just recently trained all the Armenian school teachers in Stop the Bleed and active shooter.
That's great.
Yeah, we just did that. And my team actually, Rafi and Van, they did it because I was coming back from Armenia that day, and they had a big conference for the Armenian schools, and they went in and they stopped the bleed, showed them how to use tourniquets, how to do pressure for the bleeding, because we have in the US, lately it's been like a lot of active shooters, and we just want to make sure our Armenian schools are safe. And Van being in the law enforcement, and Rafi, actually, they're both in law enforcement, and they did the active shooter, how to protect the kids, how to protect themselves, and God forbid something happens, how to take care of injury until help arrives. So we did that in the US, and we do a lot of other community work with the fire departments. It's really, it's good. And we help out Lebanon too. So we don't do training in Lebanon, but uh, every Christmas we get somebody to sponsor, and my team over there goes around and just passes out gifts, and it's pretty cool. I enjoy it a lot too. Yeah.
Especially these days for Lebanon.
Mm,
They're going through some tough economic times, so I'm
yeah.
sure it's really appreciated.
Yeah. I like it. We have good support.
That's great. So, a little bit about the Tufenkian Code 3 Angels partnership. Earlier
Yeah.
this year, of course, we had our trauma training,
Mhm.
where more than 230 people across Martuni, where Tufenkian does most of its work in Artsakh, received emergency medical and trauma training.
Mhm.
And tell us a little bit about how that came about, how this partnership started, and what it means for you to work in Artsakh.
The partnership started by again, Shant, Dr. Shant Shakardamian connected me with Greg. Um, so me and Greg, there was a couple of other people in the group and nobody responded. Me and Greg just hit it off, started talking about it, me knowing the importance of this. And I loved it that Tufenkian wanted to partner up, sponsor the whole thing, and actually do something like that for the community. You know, a lot of stuff is happening that a lot of people go out and help, which I absolutely love. So many good organizations do a lot of good work, and I look at them like that is so cool, that they're doing that. And then again, I see medical training wise, everybody concentrate more with the military, which is great.
Mhm.
But my thing is, I always tell people I'm about the community.
Mhm.
If something happens, war happens, military is they're trying to protect us. But if the shelling starts happening in the cities, it happens, who's helping the community? So they
Right,
need to be trained in this, right?
right.
So when we started talking about it more and more, and Greg said, why don't we go to the border cities in Martuni that, like Garmir or all like all the border cities that it was really active during the war, and train
Right.
those people, that community. And we did that. Partnership was great. It was easy. Like we've been working together for 100 years. We understood each other, what we need, what's needed, and we agreed on the trauma kits. And it was a few months of work to get the whole thing together. And once everything got there, we flew out there and we stayed in Stepanakert, and we would drive to the different communities with my team. And it was amazing meeting the people, the way they took us in, and the way they were willing to learn. Okay, that was amazing because, and you get a bunch of people who had some training, which is awesome. And what I like to do, I like to listen to them. I'm like, okay, what do you know? How would you do this?
Mhm.
And that's the approach I take. I don't take the approach of, okay, this is what we do, this is how it's done.
Right.
You know, honestly, I might learn something new
Sure.
from them. I'm like, oh, yeah, that could work. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's work on that and let's update it. So a
Mhm.
lot of them did have some kind of training. And what we had to do is kind of tweak it a little bit to the updated version. So especially with the tourniquets,
Mhm.
everybody has different ideas with the tourniquets. And me being a tactical emergency casualty care and combat instructor, and I would show them, okay, this has been a study about this. This is what it looks like, and this is a good idea to do it this way.
Right.
And they think about it. They ask some questions. They go, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So when we did that, mostly we did Stop the Bleed program, and we got them certified.
Mhm.
And it was it was pretty good. I love the people. I mean, I love the people of Artsakh. I just little bit different feeling when you're there. When I'm there, it happens every time. I get there, I go to sleep, I wake up, and I walk outside and I breathe. I'm like, feels good in here. It feels really good in here. Like do you understand what I'm saying,
I
right?
I
Feeling the
totally get what you're
air or
saying.
something is a little bit different
I
in
completely
Artsakh, and
understand.
I absolutely love it. And yeah, I can't wait to go back and
Right,
continue to work because yeah, we trained about 230 people. We
right.
gave them every single one of them.
Yes,
They got their trauma kits. Imagine as a community member, you have an actual trauma kit. If something happens, you have a tourniquet, you have a packing, you have emergency blanket, you have shears, you have anything that you need to stop that bleeding to save this person's life.
right.
You have it by you. And thanks to you guys, to Fenkian, for providing that, because those things are not cheap, you know? So it was great. And I can't
Not
wait to
cheap,
go
but
back.
they're definitely necessary. Giving the
Absolutely.
knowledge is one thing, but also giving them the tools to,
Yeah.
God forbid if something happens,
Yeah.
we're glad that the people there have those tools and that knowledge to
Yeah.
help save
More.
lives.
And we sent more afterwards, by the
That's
way.
right.
We sent more
That's right.
emergency bandages because they loved it. And I noticed that they didn't know how to use this particular bandage.
Mhm.
It's called emergency bandage. The main name is the Israeli bandage.
Mhm.
Um, so IT taught them how to use it in different ways, and they loved it. They go, "Oh, we should do more of this." So we sent afterwards another. I had a buddy of mine donated about 50 or no 250 more. I think we sent of those. I said basically, just pass it out to all the schools, let them have a lot of it because it helps a lot. It's really quick. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
And the people appreciate it as well. Uh,
Yeah, and they do. They really do. I mean, they're thankful. They come up and talk to you afterwards. They ask more
right.
questions. I love questions, more you ask away. It's great.
Sure. And just that interaction, I think, with
Yeah.
fellow Armenians from different places, I think it's great.
Yeah. They get kind of thrown off in the beginning by me a little bit because I like to have fun doing this.
Sure.
And they're like, wait a minute, isn't he supposed to be like this instructor, teacher, like this is how you do this? And I'm like just laughing and having fun. And next thing everybody's getting into it. And it starts getting a little bit harder because I really make them use a tourniquet.
Right.
So they get the feeling of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a little different approach, but it's been working
That's,
for them to line things up so that they can learn better. But it's been working pretty well. Yeah.
I mean, the general environment is quite heavy and sad at times. So I'm sure
Yeah.
that any sort of laughter is appreciated as well.
Yeah. That's
And
the
and
idea.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's the whole idea. That's the way I do it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the reason I should say I do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't only appreciated by the people, but the Artsakh government also really
Hmm.
appreciated what was being done. I mean, upon seeing the results of the initiative, the Artsakh Health Ministry actually requested that a similar, but of course more intensive trauma training program be implemented specifically for the military.
Hmm.
And of course, you know that to meet this need, the Tufenkian Foundation, together with the Go-Three Angels and the Health Ministry, determined that the most effective solution was to train the trainers. So
Hmm.
we're actually preparing for our next collaboration. Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about that?
So that was, yeah, like you said, because of the results of the training, we did meet with the Ministry of Health and we talked about how we could do this and make the community a lot safer. We
Mhm.
did talk about community first responders,
Mhm.
just volunteer first responders, and making the trainers and combat casualty care,
Yeah,
which is mostly emergency casualty care, tactical emergency casualty care. And we got the program together, and we're using the U.S. Basically it's from NREMT, we call it, National Registry Emergency Medical Technicians, and NAEMT, which is National Association of Emergency Medical Technicians, who put the program together for
Mhm.
combat casualty care and tactical emergency casualty care. But me being an instructor with them, I did talk to them, and they have it in Armenian on their website.
Oh, wow.
So that, yeah, so I did all that, and I didn't do the Armenian, but we talked about that because they are international, and I'm waiting for the approval for the international work so I can take it there, which I'm already like, I'm sure it's just paperwork. As you know, everything is paperwork. We're going to put the program, we're going to do the train the trainer in tactical emergency casualty care. It's a little bit, basically, it's a lot of, because let me explain it. That's my brain is, so a lot of the people who take this course, the emergency casualty care, tactical emergency care, they don't have a medical background.
Right.
Right? They don't have a medical background. Like the military guys, we're not training the military doctors because they're already doctors, right? So we want to train the military. So all service members, we want to get trained. So for that, the first couple of days, it's all didactics, learning the body, like basic anatomy, physiology, what they're looking for in the simplest way, and a lot of hands-on skills. And the next couple of days will be all scenarios. So it'll be like pretty much live scenarios. We call it under fire. We're not going to use real bullets or anything like that, but the scenario is in that aspects. We'll have a bunch of injuries. They'll be like moulaged out with bleeding and bones sticking out or whatever. And these guys have to get them out, learn what's dangerous, where to bring them, how to get them out to the triage. So we have the whole program put together already.
That's awesome.
I think we got the approval, and we're coming back soon to do that. And I'm very excited about that one.
We're excited as well. And here I'd like to really thank the AAMA, the Armenian American Medical Association, because it's thanks to their generosity that we're able to put this together. And we're really excited to have you back, Joe. And I'm sure the folks in Artsakh are as well. I mean, you've been to Artsakh several times. I'm sure it's a little different now, following the 2020 war. I'd like to ask what the reaction of some of your friends, some of your colleagues were in the US about your work in Artsakh. What were some of the questions they were asking? Go ahead.
I get why.
I'm sure we get that a lot.
Haters, I get that.
Yeah.
But a lot of my friends and family and community, they always say, "Hey, man, that's awesome that you're able to do that and you're doing that." And they go, "Thank you for doing that." I'm like, I'm just doing what I love to do, and I don't look at it as I'm doing like I have to do this.
Right.
Like we're talking about a little bit, you do it because you want to. Things like this, when you do it, is because you want to. We're volunteering for this. Okay. All my time is volunteered. I don't get a penny, even for my foundation. I don't get a penny for doing this. When I go out and do the stuff, why? Because I want to. What do I get out of it? One person saves a life. I got what I want, that's the reason why. But support is really good. I get the whys, but everybody gets those. Gente just on the dark Novraya, you're gonna go there. What if you do this? What? I'm like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like you want to join me and see. But support is great. The support is great. I get a lot of questions. Last time I came, I was there a month ago, and then we were there in April when we did the program.
Right.
When I came back this time, how was the mood? What are people doing? And I'm like, the mood is a little bit different than it used to be. And a lot of people tell me after the September situation, they were really scared. They were really, really scared. And they feel like a lot of the places are not prepared. And I'm like, that's why we're going there, to at least do our part of preparing them in some way, at least the community, Absolutely. So the support is really good. Especially my family support is 100%. Thank God for that. Awesome. That's the most important part for me. Yeah.
And that means so much, I'm sure. And it's meaningful work that you're doing that's being appreciated here in Artsakh as well. So
we love it.
Hats off to you guys.
Yeah. Same to you guys. I mean, it's teamwork. It's absolutely teamwork. Absolutely. You can't, I love doing that. I love working with you guys. I love working with Tufenkian. It's been, I mean, I work with organizations. For me, I'm easygoing, but I feel like I've been working with you guys forever. It's been great. So thank you guys for what you do. I mean, you do a lot, but thank you. I appreciate you guys.
We're all just doing our part, and we love working with you as well.
Thank you.
Any future plans other than the upcoming trip to Armenia and Artsakh for the Code 3 Angels?
Yeah, actually, in Yerevan, we started this little martial arts studio.
Wow.
It's called the Challenge Martial Arts, sponsored by Code 3 Angels. So what
Awesome.
we're doing, it's been 5 months now. So what we're doing, we have about 25 kids. These kids are refugees from Syria, Lebanon, and some of the kids are from Artsakh that moved to Yerevan. And we have a couple of kids that they lost their father in the last war. And we were training them in martial arts, mixed martial arts. And every belt they get more first aid training. So it's about, discipline, body and mind, and learning how to save lives and protecting themselves. And it's all for free for the kids.
That's incredible.
So we started that, and that's what I'm working on. I want to grow that and make it a lot bigger, wide open for more kids to come, and more sponsors we get. So far, it's called 3 Angels sponsoring, but more sponsors we get, we can grow it more. It's really, really cool program. I love it. It's called Challenge Martial Arts with Code 3 Angels.
That's awesome.
Of course, continuing I work, in Artsakh and everything else. Yeah, as it comes.
Awesome. Joe, thanks so much for taking the time out to speak with us. I know how busy you are. And I wanted to tell you once again that we're thankful for the partnership. We're grateful for all that you do. It's very meaningful work. And the people of Armenia and Artsakh, thank you as well. Hope to see you soon.
You guys, of course.
Yeah, we'll see you soon.
During the 44-day war in 2020, Artsakh's armed forces sustained many casualties. In combat situations, where injuries are often traumatic and seconds matter, the first responder is almost always a peer of the wounded soldier. Unfortunately, the deaths of some soldiers may have been preventable had more field medics and soldiers been better trained to deal with the severe injuries suffered on the battlefield. In May 2022, the Tufenkian Foundation partnered with the California-based Code 3 Angels to deliver specialized training for dealing with traumatic injuries. Given that for many villages in Martuni, the closest emergency room is up to an hour away, patients who suffer from severe bleeding and other traumatic injuries need immediate intervention to survive until they can receive more advanced medical care. Over 240 people in the Martuni region participated in the training, including the staff of all 31 area health clinics, police, fire, and other first responders, community leaders, including school and village administrators, as well as school faculty and high school students. Upon seeing the results of this initiative, the Artsakh Ministry of Health requested that a similar but more intensive trauma treatment program be implemented for the military. To meet this need, the Foundation, together with the Code 3 Angels and the Ministry, determined that the most effective solution would be to develop and implement a Train the Trainer course to prepare certified instructors in tactical combat casualty care, a program designed by the U.S. military which has been proven to save lives on the battlefield. These new instructors, selected by the ministry from amongst the best civilian emergency responders and medics from the Artsakh Defense Forces, will be certified to provide the basic one-day trauma training course suitable for all members of the Defense Forces, as well as a more intensive week-long training course for those who serve as field medics.